A quiet street glows under the Beverly Hills sunset. The world seems calm, until a single question breaks the silence. What happens when a love story everyone thought was over suddenly begins again? The screen opens to a slow fade of warm lights dancing across a quiet city. Beverly Hills looks almost untouched by time, as if it has been waiting for something or someone. A soft piano plays in the background, carrying a hint of nostalgia. We don't see faces, only silhouettes, reflections, and shadows moving gently through the golden haze. A pair of elegant heels clicks onto the sidewalk. The camera never rises higher than the knees, leaving the identity of the woman a mystery. She pauses in front of a boutique window filled with red dresses. The reflection trembles slightly, as if holding a memory too powerful to ignore. A soft voiceover enters, calm but filled with emotion. Some love stories don't end. They just fall silent. Cut to the opposite side of the city, an office tower standing tall at dusk. Inside, a man's figure stands in front of a wide glass window. His hands rest on the edge of his briefcase, the same kind of briefcase that once carried deals, dreams, and decisions that shaped his life. We still don't see his face, only the weight in his posture, the long pause before he exhales, and the quiet sadness in the air around him. The piano deepens. Quick flashes appear, a limousine door closing, a bunch of white flowers left on a balcony table, a handwritten note tucked inside a drawer, the ink slightly faded. Each image feels like a whisper from the past, hinting at a story unfinished. Richard Gere. Julia Roberts. The voiceover says softly, not as an announcement, but as a memory returning. And then, after 35 years, fate calls again. The camera glides down an empty street as the sun finally dips below the horizon. The darkness carries promise, and a quiet spark lights up on screen, glowing text that reads, "A love once lost." The music shifts, adding a gentle touch of hope as wind brushes through the palm trees lining the road. The tone is clear, something long forgotten is waking up, something deeper than time, deeper than distance. The screen fades to black. A single soft note plays, and with it, the promise of a story that still has something left to say. Asterisk, a sharp click echoes in the darkness, like the start of a new chapter or the end of an old one. The scene opens inside a towering boardroom high above the city. The room is silent, lit only by the pale glow of morning light pushing through large glass windows. Papers lie scattered across a long table, some with red marks, some torn at the edges. A pen rolls slowly across the surface until it falls off and hits the floor with a soft thud. That tiny sound feels louder than the city outside. A pair of polished shoes steps into frame. Steady, controlled, but not confident, almost hesitant. The man wearing them stands at the head of the table, his silhouette stretching across the wall. He taps the edge of a contract with tired fingers, then closes the folder with a heavy, final motion. The room answers with cold silence. No cheering, no applause. Just the quiet truth that success has a cost, and sometimes a cost more than anyone expects. The voiceover enters, low and thoughtful. For years, Edward Lewis built an empire. Every choice calculated, every victory earned. But even the strongest empires can begin to crack. Cut to a series of symbolic shots. A fountain pen leaking ink across the signature line. A stock graph dropping sharply on a glowing screen. A phone buzzing nonstop with urgent messages. A calendar filled with meetings, each one marked with red. The pace quickens as the pressure builds. Papers shift. A laptop snaps shut. A stack of documents slides off the table. But we never see the frustration directly, only the results of it, reflected in objects left behind like quiet evidence of a failing moment. Then the scene softens. A warm ray of sunlight falls across a delicate red dress hanging alone in a quiet room. It sways slightly from an open window breeze. A sketchbook sits on a nearby table, filled with designs, elegant gowns, bold colors, confident curves. Vivian's world is shown not through her face, but through these pieces of her journey. Every page reflects growth, passion, and success built from hope rather than fear. The voiceover continues. Vivian Ward rose from a dream, shaping her own life stitch by stitch. While Edward held power in contracts, she found strength in creation. A pair of hands, gentle, graceful, slowly closes the sketchbook. She reaches for a small charm bracelet resting beside it. A charm shaped like a little heart catches the light, sparking a soft memory. For a second, the room feels warmer, as if love itself once lived there. Cut back to Edward's world, cold hallways, flickering screens, a briefcase snapping shut. Cut to Vivian's world, bright fabric, soft laughter in the background of her studio. A sense of movement and life, two lives, moving in opposite directions. One climbing, one falling, both heading toward the same crossroads without even knowing it. The section ends with a simple shot, Edward placing his hand on a glass door, as if ready to walk away from everything he built. And in another part of the city, Vivian tying the ribbon on a finished dress, unaware that destiny is already turning toward her. A soft whisper closes the scene. Success can change everything, except the heart you never forget. Asterisk a quiet hum fills the air as sliding airport doors part open, letting in a rush of warm California breeze. The camera drifts through the crowd rolling suitcases, echoing footsteps. Distant announcements but never shows a single face. Instead, we follow shadows stretching across the polished floor, moving in different directions until two of them almost touch. Almost. A suitcase wheel spins to a stop near a waiting town car. The driver opens the door, revealing only a hand adjusting a silver watch, the kind worn by someone who once measured time through meetings and deadlines. Edward steps inside, his silhouette framed by the morning light. The car pulls away, the city rising before him like an unfinished story he never dared to revisit. Cut to another part of Los Angeles, a quiet, boutique studio filled with soft fabrics and glowing lamps. A mannequin wearing an elegant gown stands in the center, wrapped in the soft colors of a new beginning. The camera moves past sewing machines, ribbons, and rolls of fabric until it finds a travel bag resting near the doorway. A pair of delicate fingers zip it closed. Vivian's hands pause for a moment, touching a small envelope tucked into the side pocket. The corner is worn, the handwriting faint in old letters she never fully forgot. The voiceover enters, gentle and steady, to lives shaped by the choices they made. Two hearts shaped by the moments they shared. Time may have carried them apart, but destiny remembers. The screen transitions to the city at dusk. Streetlights blink awake one by one, painting soft golden lines across the sidewalks. Edward's car glides past a familiar hotel, the same one where everything once began. He doesn't notice it at first, but as his car slows at a red light, he turns slightly, and for a brief second, his shadow falls across the entrance. A memory flickers through the glass doors, laughter, red dresses, and a love that grew in the most unexpected place, across town. Vivian steps into a lobby filled with polished marble and soft music. She hands her sketchbook to a receptionist who greets her with excitement. Her designs have caught the attention of a major brand, one that wants her work showcased at a Los Angeles gala. She accepts the invitation with a calm smile, unaware that Edward will also attend that same gala for business negotiations that could change his company's future. The music deepens as the camera cuts to symbolic moments of connection. Two elevators opening in different buildings at the same time. Two cups of coffee being placed onto separate tables. Two people standing on opposite balconies, watching the same sunset burn across the skyline. None of them know what's coming. None of them know how close they already are. The voiceover returns softly. Some journeys lead us far from who we once were, only to guide us back to the person we never stopped loving. The section ends with a simple, powerful image. A gust of wind flips open Vivian's sketchbook, stopping on a page showing a rough pencil drawing of a man in a suit and finish, just like the story behind it. At the very same moment, Edward opens his briefcase, revealing a single photo tucked inside, its edges creased, its meaning untouched by time. To memories. Two hearts. The gala night begins with a ripple of soft music drifting through the air like a forgotten melody, returning to life. Chandeliers sparkle overhead, casting rivers of light across polished floors. The crowd moves in slow waves, elegant gowns brushing past sleek suits. Yet the camera never reveals a single face. Everything is emotion told through movement, shadow, and atmosphere. A waiter lifts a silver tray. A violinist tightens a bowstring. A camera flash cuts the darkness like lightning. Every tiny detail carries the weight of expectation, as if the whole evening is waiting for something to happen, or someone to arrive. Edward steps into the gala, his figure sharp against the glowing room. His posture is calm, but his hands tell another story, one curled slightly, the other adjusting his cuff as though trying to steady a restless heart. He moves through the crowd with the quiet grace of someone who used to belong in rooms like this, but now feels strangely out of place. Behind him, whispers ripple through shadows, business trouble, tension. A company slipping from his control. The voiceover enters softly. Success can rise and fall, but the heart remembers every moment that truly mattered. Across the venue, Vivian arrives through another entrance. Her gown flows like liquid light as she glides across the floor. We see only her silhouette, her confident stance, her hand clutching the final piece of her design portfolio, her dream, stitched together by hope. Cameras turn toward her direction, drawn to her presence, but she barely notices. She is here for her work, for her future, unaware that her past stands only a few steps away. Their worlds collide without touching. Edward pauses near a display of glass sculptures, sensing a shift in the air. Vivian stops on a balcony overlooking the room, her fingers quietly tracing the railing. It feels familiar, too familiar. Something inside her tightens, a quiet echo calling from long ago. Suddenly, the music swells. A spotlight sweeps across the hall, landing first on Edward's side, then sliding toward Vivian's balcony. For the briefest moment, the two beams overlap, merging their shadows on the marble floor. They do not see each other, but the audience sees the truth. Destiny is closing the distance. The pace picks up as the camera cuts between their separate struggles. Edward's phone glows with messages, warnings, deadlines, bad news stacking up like storm clouds. A shaky hand sets the phone face down, as if he can hide from what's coming. Vivian's mentor pulls her aside, telling her that tonight's success could launch her fashion empire. She nods, but her eyes linger on the swirling lights below, drawn by an unexplainable pull. The voiceover deepens, old feelings may rise, but life builds new walls. An argument erupts in Edward's business circle, raise voices. Sharp gestures, contracts waved like weapons. The camera only shows fragments of tension, a clenched fist, a broken champagne glass on the floor, a pen snapping under pressure. Edward steps away, the weight on his shoulders nearly visible in the shadows. Meanwhile, Vivian faces a different challenge. A rival designer criticizes her work, trying to pull her confidence apart thread by thread. Vivian quietly closes her sketchbook, drawing strength from the same place that carried her through every struggle, her heart, her history. Her belief that she can rise no matter what stands in her way. The section ends with a quiet, powerful moment. Edward walks toward the balcony for air. Vivian turns to step inside from the same balcony. Their silhouettes pass each other, only inches apart. The air shifts. Time holds its breath. They don't meet, not yet, but their hearts remember what their eyes have not seen. A whisper fades across the screen, love returns. Even through the walls, life builds around it. A low rumble of thunder rolls across the city as rain begins to fall, each drop glowing under streetlights like tiny sparks of memory. The storm outside mirrors the tension swelling inside both their hearts. The camera moves through the rain-soaked streets, past hurried umbrellas and shimmering reflections, before rising toward a balcony high above Los Angeles. The balcony where everything is about to break open. Edward stands alone beneath the soft glow of a single lamp. The light outlines his silhouette, but the shadows underneath show a man wrestling with everything he never said. His hand rests on the railing, fingers tightening as if holding onto something slipping away. Behind him, the muffled echoes of the gala fade into distant noise. Out here, there is only the storm, and the truth he's been avoiding. The voice-over enters, heavy with quiet emotion. Sometimes the hardest battles are not fought in boardrooms, but in the heart. Cut to Vivian, walking down a silent hallway lined with portraits. Her heels click softly, echoing in a rhythm that reveals her hesitation. She stops near a window where rain slides down the glass in trembling lines. Her reflection wavers, strong, successful, yet carrying a sadness she cannot explain. She rests a hand on the window, as if trying to steady the past that suddenly feels so close. Her mentor calls gently from behind her, but Vivian doesn't turn. Her thoughts drift back, flashes of old laughter, kind eyes, promises whispered in moments that felt too perfect to last. The camera never shows the images directly. Instead, we see them reflected in the glass, flickering like memories finding their way back. Suddenly, the music softens to a single, trembling note. Edward steps back inside the gala, rain still clinging to his sleeves. He moves through the empty hallway, drawn by something unseen. Vivian turns at the same moment, her hair brushing her shoulder, sensing a shift in the air and energy she hasn't felt in decades. Their footsteps echo toward each other, slow but certain. They stop before turning the corner that separates them. Both hesitate, both breathe in. Both feel the moment pulling them forward. Yet fear holds them back. The voiceover continues to face the future. They must face everything they left behind. The scene cuts to objects tied to their past, as if the universe itself is reminding them. A red dress in a display case. A white rose left on a table. A handwritten note with a smudged signature. A limousine door opening once more. Rain pounds louder. The storm grows brighter. A sudden flicker of lightning fills the hall, casting their long shadows toward each other on the polished floor, shadows that finally touch. Even though they have in single quotes. Vivian closes her eyes for a heartbeat, letting the memories wash over her. Edward lowers his head, silently admitting the fear he never learned to face. They take one step closer, then another, until only the final corner stands between them, thin as a whisper. A gust of wind rushes through an open balcony door, scattering papers from Edward's briefcase and fluttering the pages of Vivian's sketchbook. The two sets of papers swirl through the air, mixing, twisting, dancing together in a moment the world cannot ignore. Their past and present colliding in a beautiful, chaotic storm. The music rises slow, emotional, full of longing. Both reach down at the same time to pick up a drifting page. Their hands almost touch. But the scene cuts to black before they meet. A single line appears in the darkness, carried by the final whisper of the voice-over, "Love survives storms. But only courage can open the door to it again." The screen opens to calm after the storm. The rain has stopped, leaving the city washed clean, glowing in the soft silver of early morning. Drops hang on the edges of street signs and balcony rails like tiny memories refusing to fall away. The air is still, fresh, as if Los Angeles itself is holding its breath for what comes next. Inside the quiet hallway where their shadows once touched, the lights flicker back to life. Music begins gentle, patient, full of promise. The camera drifts slowly past the remnants of the night before, scattered papers, a forgotten champagne glass, a silk scarf left on a chair. Everything feels paused, waiting for the last piece of a story still unwritten. The voice-over begins softly. Some endings are really beginnings. Hidden in the moments we almost walk away. Edward stands at the far end of the hallway, a silhouette shaped by uncertainty and hope. His shoulders rise with a shaky breath. He glances at the page he picked up, a sketch of a dress, Vivian's handwriting in the corner. He turns it over, and behind it, tucked between the pages, is the old letter he once wrote but never delivered. The ink has faded, but the words still beat with truth. Across the hall, Vivian lifts the page that drifted to her, a corporate document, stamped with Edward's signature. A contract outlining a deal meant to save his company, yet full of scars from the battle he is losing. She touches the page gently, the weight of the moment softening her eyes. These papers, hers and his, fell together for a reason. She looks up. He looks up. For the first time in decades, they stand facing each other. We don't see their faces, only their outlines, the trembling breath between them, the small steps drawing them closer. The world around them fades, the music deepens, and their shadows merge again, this time not by chance, but by choice. Edward takes one slow step. Vivian takes another. The gap between them shrinks until the air vibrates with everything unsaid. A soft gust of wind moves through the hallway, lifting the curtains and brushing against them like a gentle push from fate. Edward reaches out, not for her hand, not for her dress, but for the courage he once lacked. Vivian exhales, steady and brave, letting her heart answer before her words ever could. The moment freezes. The voiceover whispers, "Love returns when the heart is finally ready." The screen fades to black. Then, slowly, glowing text appears. "Pretty woman to -2025. A new chapter begins." A warm light pulses behind the words, like the soft beat of a heart rediscovering its rhythm. Then a second line appears beneath it. "Release date confirmed." A final note from the guitar theme of the original story plays, gentle, nostalgic, unmistakable. The sound lingers in the air, reminding the audience that some love stories never truly end. They simply wait for the right moment to bloom again. The trailer fades out. The screen goes silent. The story's next chapter is ready to begin.